everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Half Street High Heat. I am your host, Amanda White, joined as always by my co-hosts, Nick and Ryan. You can get me on Twitter at awhite7877, and you can find them at DC Nat Shack. You can follow the podcast at Half Street High Heat, and you can find polls, lots of information about the podcast and everything that you need there. We are doing this podcast for the DMV Sports Network. You can get them at DMV_SN on both Twitter and Instagram, and at the DMVSportsNetwork.com. If you go there, you'll find all the daily content on all the different DC sports and local college sports, so check them out. And you can find this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and also we'll have it up on YouTube. So let's get into it. Hey guys, how was your week?
Pretty good. No major free agent departures this week, so we're trending in the right direction.
Things are looking up.
There is baseball being played, and that makes me happy. So, that is a good thing. So it looks like we've got are going to do our bold prediction for the Nats. What's our bold predictions?
So I just wanted to start the show with a bang. I feel like there's a lot of hostility on Nats Twitter, people at each other's throats. You
can take Nats out of that and just be like, there's a lot of hostility on Twitter.
Okay, fair. Fair. But I've just seen a lot. So I wanted a bold prediction for the Nats that kind of inspired hope for the season for a lot of Nats fans. So does anyone want to start? Do you want me to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
They win the NL East, and it's not that close.
Ooh, I was like, that's not that bold.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I think pitching wins out, and the Nats. But we're going to have discussions later about who has the best lineup in the division. But the pitching, I think there's no argument. The Nats have the best pitching staff.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go really bold, just full blown send it. Steven Strasburg doesn't hit the DL once this year.
That's crazy talk.
So similar to Ryan's, I was going to do Strasburg specific, but I'll just make it more general. I think the top three in the Nats rotation finish top 8 in Cy Young voting.
Wow. I love it. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it. If Strasburg can stay healthy, he's as good as anybody.
Yeah, and that's really the thing, because I don't have the rank or the final finish in front of me where Corbin finished last year, but I mean, just on his numbers alone, he deserves some conversation. Obviously not to win it all. DeGrom and Scherzer, it was really a 2-horse race, but I mean, Corbin's right there, and if Strauss can stay healthy, then he's right there too. So obviously if you have 3 top 8 pitchers, you're going to do pretty well. So it goes along well with your bold prediction.
All right. Look at that. Cohesiveness amongst all three of us.
Right? Yeah.
It had to happen eventually, I guess.
For once.
All right. So for our first topic, other than our outlandish predictions, let's talk a little bit about center field for this team, which, there was a spring training game this week where somebody asked Davey, is this pretty much going to be your starting rotation when the season starts? And he kind of made some noises that it would be. And Mr. Michael A. Taylor was in center field for that game. So what do we think about Robles versus Taylor? We all know how we feel about Robles versus Taylor, but what do you actually think is going to happen?
So they're going to have Michael A. Taylor start the year, as annoying as it is. I really think they're going to manipulate the whole time thing, which is so stupid, especially because the gap in the NL East doesn't exist anymore. Right. All the teams are hand to hand. You need your best players, and if Robles comes close to what he's projected to do, he's better than Michael A. Taylor.
It's not a high bar.
I feel like I know it sucks, but I feel like the Nats are just looking too far into the future, because if Robles starts the year, him and Soto both hit free agency at the same time, and if that's their reason for holding him down, I'm going to be furious, because that's the worst reason I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Nats and what they're trying to do, and it just doesn't seem like all their moves, coincide with the same plan. The Corbin move tells me that they're trying to go, all in and remain the top-tier contender. But then, if you leave Robles down, who's by far, in a way, your best center fielder, yes, extends his service time or whatever, but like you're not putting your best 9 on the field. So then that contradicts your like all in World Series hope. So
I'll bet this would be like the Rizzo. We've got a 1 year and a 3 year and a 5 year plan, and they're trying to keep his service time so that they get him for 1 extra year under team control. But I don't think it's the right move.
Right. And I mean, that's the only reason there could be for keeping him down. And honestly, I know we posed this question earlier on before we really got much of a sample size, but I'm the same thing or of the same mindset with Keyboom. Like I would just keep him up.
He's been tearing it up in the spring training games. I know it's spring. I know pitchers are tinkering with their stuff, and they're, it's not necessarily representative of the season as a whole, but he's been really good. So is, there have been a lot of really good prospects making a really good showing in camp this year. And you have to think that if they're really all in this year with the NL East as tight as it's going to be, wins in April are just as important as wins in August.
Yeah,
we can't
saw that.
Around.
Yeah, we saw that last year.
The Nats have never made the playoffs, and they finish April with a losing record.
Oh, that's an interesting stat.
Can always count on Ryan. Love you, bud.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
No, but the only thing with Keyboom that I'll just kind of contradict myself here is like there's no clear path to him starting. Like it's still Dozier's job, so you don't need Keyboom as much. But obviously, I think he's earned a spot on the roster. It's just the way the things are.
With Dozier, though, I feel like I'm expecting a lot more out of Dozier than I am out of Taylor. So
right.
if they decide to start Keyboom in AAA, Fresno, which I can't get used to saying, but if they decide to start him down, he's there if they need him for depth.
And
but
that's exactly what I was just going to say.
I would like to see him, have another year of team control. That would be good. I don't think there's such a drop off to Taylor. If we talked before about Taylor being the goldfish, like Robles would be, like a piranha. He's not the best dog in the world like Harper was, but he's better than a goldfish.
Yeah.
I may be torturing this analogy just a little bit, but
I mean, the only reason I could see the Nats keeping him down is if his elbow isn't as healthy as they want it to be, and they want to make sure he's healthy and get some extra rehab games.
But if that were the case, you wouldn't be seeing him so much in spring training. I don't think it's a health issue.
But like we haven't really seen him as much as he should be playing. Like he should be playing majority of the games. Like he's your top prospect. You need to see what you have with him.
Whoa! I mean,
Michael Taylor's playing more than him.
People were upset with Ryan Zimmerman not playing a game because it was raining. So I really, I don't know if I'm sold on this Victor Robles guy.
No, I just like to, I'm a conspiracy theorist about Ryan Zimmerman at this point. The crap they do with him in spring training is weird. It's weird. I don't know what their deal is. I guess they're just trying to say, handle him with kid gloves because he's so fragile at this point in his career.
Yeah, because clearly whatever you're doing has been working.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of Ryan Zimmerman, let's talk a second about his doppelganger down there, Jake Knoll. Have you guys been paying any attention to what he's been doing?
Yeah, he's going to be pretty good in Double-A this year.
Yeah, they've given him a
and
pretty
for the next
hard
5
look,
years.
though. They've played him 14 games in spring training so far. That's a long look. And when they did their first round of cuts, they didn't include him in it. So it seems to me like I listened to some stuff on the radio today, and they said there are a lot of people in the organization that are pretty high on that kid. So
yeah, I can't wait to see him for on the top 10 prospects list for the Nats for the next 7 years.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
and Austin Voth. There's guys.
Yeah, and Rowdy Reed and Brian Goodwin and
Brian Goodwin. I have a Brian Goodwin autograph. You guys are jealous, I know, from
I
one of those fan fests.
Yeah.
Good enough. But it was, they do those double autograph things when you go to the fan fests.
Oh yeah,
You had to get in line, and you could get Brian Goodwin or Max Scherzer, and I was like, come on,
everyone's going to go. Like obviously, Brian Goodwin's the obvious choice. Like
right, exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
So.
Exactly. Okay, so it seems like we've covered Robles versus Taylor. I think we all wish it would be Robles, and we all know it's going to be Taylor. So
yeah, the right move. I don't care what anyone says. The right move is to leave him up, but what they're going to do is start him in AAA. It's just
and it's weird, as you said, like the getting Corbin for such they're doing this. We're going all in, but then they're really not. You can tell because they're not signing Kimbrel and they're not exploring any other free agents. They're like all in right up to the luxury tax.
Yeah,
they're not in any further than that.
It's like do just enough but not like what needs to be done.
Yeah, this division is going to be fascinating to watch, though. I got to say, it's the best division in baseball, and it's going to be exciting to have a division that nobody's really going to run away with.
Yeah, it's nice to have that.
Well, that's a good segue into this week's FYI segment, which is the Nats lineup versus the rest of the division. So much was made of this. Our poll question this week on the Half Street High Heat Twitter was, who has the best lineup? And Nats fans never let us down. They said the Nats. They're wrong, but they said the Nats, which I love the loyalty.
So yeah, go ahead.
We did we have a document that we put together, just kind of an at a glance using career averages for all the projected starters. And then averaging all the projected starting pitchers into that spot and looking team by team. It's very close, except for the Marlins, who really shouldn't even be in this conversation. But we're going to go ahead. I guess we could post this out to the Half Street High Heat account so people can look at it if they're interested, since we're going to be talking about it on here. But what do you guys think? Who do you, obviously you don't think it's the Nats. Who do you think has the best lineup in the division?
It's honestly... It's the Phillies, and people are just mad and salty about it.
Yep.
And they're not going to admit it. If you take the Phillies 2019 lineup with the 2018 numbers, they had 263 as a team, 175 home runs, 600 RBIs. Compare that to the Nats 2019 lineup with 2018 numbers. They hit 265, 2 points higher, only 102 home runs and 467 RBIs. Like, there is a big drop-off. I mean, the Phillies' middle of the order is going to be absolutely stupid this year. And then I think you could put the Braves right behind them and then argue that the Mets, when healthy, have a better lineup than the Nats do.
Okay. I don't know that I agree with all that.
So I think we're still ahead of the Mets, but I think obviously the Mets are a lot better than they were last year. With Ryan's numbers, just comparing the Nats and the Phillies, the Nats have like a very, very slight edge, like 2-point edge in batting average, but we know batting average is an overrated stat, and that's not really what matters.
Retweet. I just didn't feel like looking into the other numbers.
No, I don't blame you. But also we have Michael A. Taylor in that lineup, which will only bring our numbers down. Because he only played like half the season last year. So
right. I have a feeling that Taylor's going to start the season, but I also have a feeling we're going to see Robles sooner rather than later. I don't think they're going to wait till June when they could.
They can't. There's no
they
way
won't
they
be
can.
able to, and they shouldn't wait at all. But I think they will. I actually would put the Nats behind the Phillies as far as lineup goes, but not behind the Braves or the Mets. I would put the Nats up there, number 2. I think there's a lot of on base, that it's not just about batting average. That they can get on base. Turner he creates havoc on the base paths. He gets, he can do a lot once he gets on base. And I look at the Braves lineup, and obviously Acuna is amazing. And we'll see whether his sophomore year can be what his rookie year was. Inciarte has a career 289 average. I mean, he's a great hitter. And Freeman is a Nats killer. So he's an everybody killer, really. But I don't know. The Braves, even though they won the division last year, for some reason, their lineup doesn't scare me so much.
Yeah.
Well, for me with the Braves, sorry, Nick.
No, you're fine.
For me with the Braves, if Donaldson is healthy, their lineup's going to be dangerous. But if he's not healthy, then their lineup takes a huge step back. So he's really the key piece for them, for me.
Right. And I think with the Braves numbers, if you just kind of look at the projected starting lineups with their like last year numbers, the Braves really hit their stride offensively once they moved Acuna to the leadoff role, which is hypothetically where he's going to.
So good.
Yeah, where he's going to start this
season. It was so fun last year to watch Acuna and Soto in that division. It was awesome.
So I think they're going to be better, and obviously, like Ryan said, a healthy Donaldson is an MVP caliber player every year. It's just
but he's never healthy.
I know. I was just saying that.
He's the Ryan Zimmerman of the Braves.
No, Ryan Zimmerman's way worse.
I just mean in the health.
Oh, yeah.
The health.
I knew what you meant.
But I think he will bounce back. Maybe not to MVP caliber, but he's going to be a threat in that lineup. And obviously, like you said, Freddie Freeman's a Nats killer. It's just like aside from Rendon, and I do think Soto, not a huge step back, but has a step back. I think Rendon's really your only like scary hitter in our lineup, and with hypothetically Zim hitting behind him, I don't think he's not going to get many pitches to hit. So it kind of takes away. Like if you look at the Phillies lineup, they go Harper, Hoskins, Real Muto.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's a nasty middle of the lineup for sure.
Yeah, granted it was spring training, but Bryce's first at bat as a Philly, they walk him and boom, Hoskins hits a home run. Like
That's like a 700-foot home run.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of that.
We are going to see a lot of that. But I also when I look at these numbers, I prefer to use career averages because I don't think if you look over the course of players' careers, rarely do their numbers look all that similar year to year. Most guys revert to the back of the baseball card eventually. Right. You know what I mean? So to me, when you look at Phillies and Nats, if you look at the team average batting averages, it's 257 and 258. If you look at the on-base percentage, it's 325 and 327. And if you look at slugging percentage, it's 420 and 413. The numbers aren't that different when you go career.
Yeah.
So
I like using career averages if it's a guy like Turner, who's only had, obviously, a couple years under his belt. But for someone like Ryan Zimmerman, I would like just kind of focus on like the last 4 years, 4 to 5 years, because I don't remember who tweeted it. And Ryan, I know you called them out. They tweeted Ryan Zimmerman's numbers, but they like cropped out like the last 4 years where he hasn't been so good.
That's awesome.
Like it was very like selective with the way they posted the numbers. So, but yeah, the career averages, like you said, usually they're gonna go back to the back of the baseball card, which is why Michael A. Taylor will never be that good. He's never gonna be anything. But I don't see how you say the Nats have a better lineup than the Phillies.
No, I don't think you could say that either. I don't think any reasonable person could say they're better, but I don't think the drop off between them is as great as Ryan does.
I don't know.
Numbers never lie.
Facts. But I think there is a drop off, but assuming the Nats can still score in different ways other than relying on the long ball, I think we'll see a pretty good season.
That's going to be what really, without Harper's production for home runs in the lineup, that we are going to see a drop off in home run numbers, I'm sure. But I think if they can figure out a way to manufacture runs without that, and I think Eaton and Turner, if they're both healthy at the top of the order, that's a lot of on base percentage. Yeah. And if you got Soto and Rendon hitting behind them, I think you can produce a lot of runs without a lot of home runs.
They've struggled as a franchise to manufacture runs going back forever. Yes. So I just really hope all of a sudden they figure out a way where they can do that.
Hope springs eternal, as they say.
But a quick thank you to all of our followers. This was the best poll we ever did. Slight brag, we got 205 votes. So clearly,
yes, thank you everyone for voting.
Clearly, people felt some way about this poll, and they just didn't want to give the Phillies credit. But that's fine. I mean,
screw the Phillies.
Yeah. But that just goes into another point. There's certain people on Twitter who shall remain nameless. They are so biased against the Phillies or for the Nats, however you want to do it. And it blinds the reality. Oh. And that's just kind of where we're at right now.
I'm a shameless homer, so I'm not hating on those people.
Oh, no, not you at all. They know who they are.
Nice. You know who you are if you're listening.
Yep, exactly. So I'm just saying you're blind. Yep, you are blind, and I am talking directly to you. So
excellent. All right. Yeah. So new segment. We're going to do fair or foul. Ryan, you want to take this one?
Yes. So this is going to be a new monthly segment here on Half Street High Heat. I am going to state just one statement about the Nats, and then if you agree with it, you'll say fair and why. If you disagree with it, you'll say foul and why. So we'll get right on into it. Fair or foul? Dave Martinez will be fired if the Nats miss the playoffs this year.
Fair, because I don't think missing the playoffs with this team is going to be acceptable, and we know the Lerners have no patience for managers. And I think they already know that they probably shouldn't have hired Martinez.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm still going to go foul because there was a Twitter question earlier in the year or earlier in an earlier episode where someone asked a similar question. And basically my response was the talent you have on this team is going to win you more games than it would take to get Davey fired. Even if you're riddled with injuries, you're still probably going to look at like an 80-win team. Granted, it's not good. It's not a playoff team, but I think for Davey to be fired after this year and be another unsuccessful manager hire, he would have to win a lot less, or is something like crazy, like Papelbon choking Harper would have to happen.
I just have to say 2 years of missed playoffs with this roster.
I agree.
I don't think they'd have the patience for it. I think that would be it for him. If you can't win enough games to get to the playoffs with this roster 2 years consecutively, then
last year you can put it on the injuries to an extent. And obviously if there's injuries this year, you can kind of point to that as well. It's just we've seen Davey make plenty of questionable decisions. So it would really just have to depend how the season plays out. But I don't think missing the playoffs would be enough to fire him. So I'm going to go foul.
All right.
See, I was thinking foul just because I feel like Rizzo and Davey are intertwined with both their contracts ending at the same time because this was Rizzo's guy.
And there's only one more year after this, right?
Yeah, so I feel like they're just going to wait it out. If they don't win by end of next year, Lerner's going to clean house and just do a fresh reset with both of them.
Hopefully they would value a manager at that point, but we'll see.
Hopefully they would, and I wish they would. I wish they would value Rizzo regardless of what happens with the manager position, because I think Rizzo is one of the best GMs.
I do
baseball.
think Rizzo is good, and I think he's been. The more I see Mark Lerner, his name pop up places, I'm kind of sympathizing with Rizzo because he definitely has his job cut out for him.
Yeah, we've all had crappy bosses. We know what that's like.
Yep.
All right, so our next one. Fair or foul? The Nationals are putting too much pressure on Juan Soto.
Fair. 100%.
I agree.
Like easily fair. Like dead center. They are putting weight. He is a 20-year-old kid. He had a great season last year, but he didn't have to be the guy last year. You had a Bryce Harper. You had an Anthony Rendon. Soto could just play baseball, but now they're like, oh, this 19-year-old, now 20-year-old did it last year. He can do it again, and he can do it like 10 times better now.
I disagree.
They're putting way too much pressure on him, and I don't think it's fair to him, and I think a lot of fans are going to be disappointed.
All right. Well, I'm going foul on this because I think last year he was a great surprise, obviously, to everyone, including the organization. But the kid just, was playing baseball. And I think with Harper leaving this year, the pressure is there. It's not the team putting the pressure on him. It just is. Everybody's expecting him to be able to do what he did last year, and he may or may not be able to. But I think that, having an exciting player. I mean, the guy was second in the Rookie of the Year voting. He's an excellent ball player. I think he enjoys it. I think he likes the expectations, and I don't think it's too much pressure. I guess we'll see how it plays out with how he performs this year.
I just think if it wasn't the Nats putting on the pressure on him, like I said, like he didn't face so much pressure last year because you had so many. But
what have they done actually to put the pressure on him? Like, what are they doing?
They haven't
putting him in the.
They're putting him in like the 3. Yeah, they're putting him in the 3 hole and just saying.
Would you put him someplace else in the rotation?
I mean, not with the current lineup, but I think. I don't know. I almost consider batting Zim 3rd and like Soto 5th.
Ugh. Sorry, Zim in the 3 hole is horrifying. That's just it.
But I think Zim sees pitches that will help Rendon more.
And when he goes on the cold streak, he always goes on, in the first month to 6 weeks of the season, then you've got
there. I mean,
I hear you. I don't know what they could do
Zim.
differently. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand there is a lot of pressure on Soto, but I don't know that the Nats are making the pressure. It just is what it is. There are expectations because of how he performed last year.
I think my bigger problem is that maybe it's not a problem and maybe it'll be all right and I'm overreacting, but they just don't have that scary bat that, like, obviously Harper has provided. And before that, we would always have someone like that. Like, even Adam Dunn kind of served that role. And we don't really have that. And I think the reason I think they're putting too much pressure on him is because they want Soto to be that scary impact bat. And I don't think that's his game. I think he's more like a Anthony Rendon, who's obviously a great player, but I still think they're putting too much pressure on him, and I wish the situation was different.
I hear you. I think there is a lot of pressure on him. I just don't know that it's something that can be helped. I don't know that anybody's doing it to him. It's just the nature of after his performance last year.
It's Mark Lerner, and you can't tell me otherwise.
All right. Well, this is fun. So far, we disagree on everything. That's great.
Makes a great podcast. Keep it up, everyone. All right. So next, fair or foul? Brian Dozier, Nationals having a dangerous lineup.
Foul.
I'm gonna go foul as well. I think it's more to do with the top of the lineup. And even if you like bat Robles ninth, you would do like Robles and then the top of the lineup. So basically, it's Eaton and Turner are the key to having a dangerous lineup. And then if Robles is in the 9 hole, then Robles would be included in that as well. And because they have to be on base, because like we've been saying ever since we found out Bryce was officially gone, they're just gonna have to score in different ways. They can't rely on the long ball. And if Dozier hits 30 to 40 home runs, phenomenal, ecstatic, like great. But that's not going to be the thing we can rely on. It's going to be people on base.
I agree. And I think Dozier's going to be hitting probably somewhere down in the 5, 6.
Maybe even lower.
He should bat 4th.
Maybe 7. Yeah. I bet you, though, it's going to be 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. So we're going to need him to be an RBI guy. There's going to be people on base, and he's going to need to drive in some runs, but I don't think he's the key. If I had to pick a key to having a dangerous lineup, he wouldn't be near the top of the list.
Yeah, maybe I would hit Dozier 3rd. I would have to look at the lineup again, but yeah, Dozier, like you just said, Dozier hitting in the 6th or 7th spot isn't really like, that's not where you have your key guy to a dangerous lineup. He's not hitting 6th or 7th, so I don't think it's Dozier.
All right. Fair or foul? Trey Turner won't have the breakout season that we all have been alluding to and hoping. The inconsistent streaks that we see during the season is who he actually is as a player.
This is a hard one. I'm going to go foul on this. I think, before he got hurt, was it 2 years ago where he was on that unbelievable streak and then he got hit by the pitch? Broke his
2
bone.
years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, he was really getting hot right before that happened. It was super unfortunate. And then last year, I feel like if he can put the getting on base together, his game he's so fast and he's so good on the base pass and he's so good defensively that if he can be a little more patient at the plate and, take some walks. And I think that stuff can be, yeah, exactly. And I think that can be learned. I think that he's still a young player. And I think if he can improve his on base percentage, then he can that breakout season will come. And I don't know if it's this year, but I do think he has that in him. And I think if he really can get on base a lot and try to steal, 50, 60 bases, he's going to be a massive piece of the offense for this team.
So the question I'm looking at is Turner won't have a breakout season. I'm going to go foul. I'm going to go foul. I'm going to stick with it because I think eventually Eaton's going to be the leadoff guy, whether he starts the year or it's a switch later on. Because if Turner's the leadoff guy, I think he's going to feel that pressure, and that's when you're going to see him swinging at the first pitch and not being patient. And he needs, like, Turner and Eaton work so well together because Turner didn't have to be the guy. It's kind of the same thing we just talked about with Soto. So if Eaton can be the vet and the great leadoff guy he is, and honestly one of the many reasons we traded for him to be a leadoff guy, then Turner can just relax, be patient. Eaton's on base. You can see some pitches and make things happen.
Yeah, I don't know why Davey seems so enamored with putting Turner
because he's an idiot.
Well, tell us how you really feel. No, I really like Eaton and then Turner. I don't know why you would do it otherwise. I think Turner he's better in the 2-hole, and he's he's still going to get on base. He's still going to be able, he's a good hitter. But I don't know. I like Eaton. I like Eaton at the top of the lineup. He's a calm veteran presence. I think that would be a real benefit for Turner.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was last April or like the season before that, but when Eaton was healthy for that month of April, he was like on pace for like 200 runs scored batting leadoff. It was insane. But I think what Davey's saying is if Eaton bats leadoff, he gets on base, and then if Turner gets on base, Turner can't steal, which is a dumb way to look at it. Like if Trey leads off and consistently gets out, then he's not going to be on base to steal.
Right, exactly.
So
Yeah, and actually,
and
I
all
would
the
argue
numbers show.
where we go back just a little bit to what we were talking about is who's the key to the lineup. Is it Dozier? And I don't think it is, but Eaton may very well be that key. If Eaton is healthy, he's a really excellent leadoff guy. I mean, he can really produce for you. We haven't had the benefit of a healthy Eaton really, other than that first month that we had him.
I mean, I just saw on the Nats Instagram that Adam Eaton is in the best shape of his life. So
I hate this so much.
I was at that game where Eaton hurt himself, at that April game where he and blew out his knee. I was there. It was horrible.
Yeah. Do we know what that thing is? The players are in the best shape of their life. What is that?
They're mocking like all the reports of the coaches when they ask about guys reporting, they're like, oh, he's in the best shape of his life. And so they're like mocking it, but they need to stop. It's so annoying.
It's very annoying. And like the pictures don't give off that vibe anyways. Like they need to be funny pictures. Like
then that social media team's terrible.
Yeah, I don't the vibe doesn't match. It's weird.
Yeah, it's not
fair
good.
Foul.
So
I guess we're going foul on
that. Moving on, fair or foul? Stealing on and being aggressive on the bases is the way for the Nats to replace the production they're losing from Harper.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. 100%. You got to be aggressive. Like even, God forbid, even Michael A. Taylor, if he ever in his life gets on base, you got to steal him. Because he's
actually really good on the base paths when he can get there.
Yeah, when he can get there, his on base percentage is like
look at that, a compliment
lower
for
than
Michael
Max
A.
Scherzer's.
Taylor.
Like it's absurd how just bad he is. But
so when we say stealing and aggressiveness, are we talking about Max Scherzer? Are we saying when he needs to steal more bases, and that's the way that we're going to replace Harper's production?
Hey, he was 100% last year, so he is trending in the right direction.
God, I love Max Scherzer. He's fantastic.
But. No, you got to, like we said, they have to score in different ways. If you can't rely on the long ball, then you got to be aggressive on the base paths. You got to play a smaller kind of baseball, just singles, and don't go for.
You got to see good bunting. You've got to see good. You've got to see good small ball, and that's something they've historically not been good at. But I think with Harper out of the lineup, they're really going to need to work on improving that, because if they can't get the number of, and maybe Dozier will have an amazing year and he'll replace a lot of the home run production and it will be less of an issue. But in lieu of that, they've got to find a way to manufacture runs.
Yeah, guys just need to keep the line moving. They can't go for like the glory. So stealing, being aggressive, and having smart at bats, that's going to be the way we replace the production we lost.
All right, good one. And then our last for this segment is fair or foul. If Scherzer retires today, he's a Hall of Famer.
Fair, of course.
So, if you look at this, if he retires today. So he
is not.
I don't think he is.
I'm sorry.
And I'm not saying he won't be, but if he retired today, if he just decided to hang him up, he doesn't want to play with Michael A. Taylor starting in center field. I don't blame him. He retires today. He just misses it.
I doubt.
He's very close. But like, even look at someone like Johan Santana. He's a 2-time Cy Young winner. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer. Like he had a great peak. He was riddled by injuries, but he didn't, like, as great as he was for that 6-year stretch. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer. And Scherzer, his peak has only been like 5 years. Yeah, 5.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, okay, the guy's had over 300 strikeouts in a season. He's tied for 20 strikeouts for the most ever in a 9-inning game. He's had 3 Cy Youngs, including 2 back-to-back, and has won them in both leagues. There's nothing you could say to convince me he's not a Hall of Famer already.
Well, according to the measurements to get into the Hall of Fame, Max Scherzer is not there yet.
Yeah.
And people forget that he was good, not great in Detroit.
I understand that, but he's
greatly.
He is the accomplishments, the accolades, the things he's already accomplished are, like I said, the 20 strikeout game, the no hitters, the Cy Youngs. He's already
no hitters don't really count because that's more luck. But I see your point.
Yeah, and plus the 20 strikeout game,
Have you seen the people who have thrown the no hitter?
I understand.
Homer Bailey has thrown 2.
I understand.
No hitter, straight luck.
It's not straight luck. That's insanity. And the one
Dallas
game that
Braden
was
threw
one
a perfect game.
One of his
Braden's
no-hitters
ERA is
was
above
a perfect
5.
game. If that jackass, who was that guy who stuck his elbow pad out?
Oh, Starlin Marte? Was that him?
Yeah. I think it was. Yeah, that game. I'm just saying, Scherzer to me, if
important to note.
I think he's
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm
already
so
a
sorry.
Hall of Famer. So we disagree on this
Important to note. The average starting pitcher in the Hall of Fame has 7 dominant seasons. Max has 5. And the average WAR for pitchers in the Hall of Fame is 73.4. And like the measurement to get in is 63. Max's WAR right now is at 54.5. And he only has 5 dominant seasons as of today.
All right. Well, I hear all of that, and you still can't change my mind.
I mean, I think like
makes a good
even
podcast.
Someone like CC Sabathia, like he's a questionable Hall of Famer, and he had that 6-year-ish dominant stretch, and I mean he's won a World Series. He has, I believe, 2 Cy Youngs.
Is that ESPN commentator CC Sabathia?
Yeah, newly ESPN commentator.
Such a weird story.
No, but and he's providing valuable years on the end of his career, like he did last year, like he's projected, and the Yankees are hoping he's doing this year. And he's still a borderline Hall of Famer. But granted, let me back up. The Hall of Fame is trending towards the Hall of Very Good. So, I mean, Max might get in if he retired today. But according to, like Ryan said, the numbers and just the normal peak years of dominance, Max misses it just by a hair, and that's kind of where I lean.
Okay. Well, we can't be right all the time, so.
Yeah, I know you can't. You have that going for you.
God, we're so childish. All right. So before we move on to our Twitter questions for the week, I just want to thank you guys again for listening. I want to also remind you all about the library of podcasts from the DMV Sports Network. There are shows for every team in the area: Redskins, Caps, Wizards, and of course this one about the Nats. There's also 2 shows that cover all different sports, which are About Time DC. It's About Time DC and the Dom and Thunder Show. You can find these on the DMVSportsNetwork.com website or anywhere you find your podcasts. And of course, they're all on YouTube. Please check them out. And if you like this one or any of those, we really appreciate if you leave a review and subscribe. So let's talk about Twitter questions. We got quite a lot this week.
Shout out to our fans.
Yes, thank you guys. We really appreciate
Best
it.
fans on Twitter.
All
right. Yeah. All right, let's not say bad things about our fans. All right, so our first question's from @BG1United, and his question is, why do the Nats insist on going into every season with a mediocre bullpen and then having to give up prospects for an impact arm again? Are we worried about Fetty and starting pitching depth?
So this one really irritates me. The Nats spend their money on starting rotation in other positions, and they kind of just view relievers as, oh, well, it's kind of just a crapshoot. Let's see what happens. And it baffles me. The Nats have lost 12 playoff games. 8 of them are from relievers, and 6 of them have happened in the 7th inning or later.
I'm crawling under my desk to cry now, so thank you.
Yeah.
Just what more needs to happen for his front office to realize they need to invest in a dominant reliever and not just have a bunch of terrible guys?
Craig Kimbrell.
Well, that's too much to ask for. I don't understand it. Eventually, they need to realize that relievers and bullpens win playoff games and win you World Series. And the Nats just don't invest in it. It baffles me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. And BG1 United put it perfectly. We give up prospects for an impact arm. Like every year, granted, Herrera didn't work out the way we expected to, but we got Doolittle at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, we got Papelbon, Melanson. The
it's
list
every year.
It's every single year. The list just goes on and on and on. And granted, we've been in the running. When Kenley Jansen was a free agent, I know we were one of the last teams in it before he re-signed. I know we were testing the waters on Chapman when he was a free agent, and so on and so forth. So we've been right there towards the end, but I just don't feel like they value it. They see impact arms and relievers, and they want to give them a fair market value, but they don't value them for what they can contribute to the course of a 162 game season and then some.
Mm-hmm.
And like the game is shifting to where you don't have to be a closer to get that money, right? Like you can be a good 7th, 8th inning guy and you're still going to get paid. Like plenty of guys have really shifted the narrative on that. Like Darren O'Day in Baltimore, he got paid and he's never really been a closer. Andrew Miller's another one. Like he's never really been the closer, but he's still an impact arm and has gotten paid. So like the narrative of Major League Baseball and the teams, they're putting more focus,
emphasis on
on relieving or relievers, and the Nats are late to that party.
Yeah, it seems like every season the bullpen feels like the weak link, and this season's no exception.
That's for sure.
I would love for them to get Kimbrel. It doesn't look, as the days tick by, that they're going to be interested in doing that because they don't want to go over the luxury tax, which is silly because even if they don't sign anybody at the deadline, and they always do, but even if they didn't, if the incentives come in and we're having a good season, they're going to be over anyway.
Right.
And, like, it's so stupid. Like, you're going to go over, and so why would you not want to solidify your bullpen now instead of
giving up prospects?
Waiting to the
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to give up prospects and go over eventually. Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, of course, the second part of this about Fedde and starting pitching depth, I am a bit worried about that. They should just go get Keuchel and Kimbrel, and then we don't have to worry about anything.
Oh, what a world.
I'm just being greedy.
Yeah, like, obviously, confident in our top 5. I think, as we've said in the show before, I think Ross is better suited for a long man out of the bullpen, and I think he can be pretty effective in that role.
But if there are injuries, he could.
Yeah, he could slide in, but like if he was in the rotation, I wouldn't really expect to get more than like 4 or 5 innings out of him. He would still be like a long man in the rotation, and then you essentially have a bullpen day. Which a lot of teams kind of slot for anyway, so that wouldn't be too bad. But then again, he's coming off a major injury, so if we're talking about depth, that's still a worry you have.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so next one at Jetman20_1986. He says, if we sign Keuchel, where would you slot him into the rotation? What a nice problem to have this would be.
Yeah, I know, right?
5. I don't want Keuchel. I want absolutely nothing to do with Keuchel.
Yeah, I mean, now that we're in March, his value is a lot less than what he was projected to get. But I'm with Ryan. Like, Corbin was always the guy I wanted. I'm ecstatic that we got him. But I never wanted Keuchel. Like, if you told me Corbin signed with the Yankees, oh, let's go get Keuchel, I'd still be like, yeah, I don't know.
His velocity is way down. His command is way off.
But would you rather have Hellickson than Keuchel?
I'd rather have Hellickson just because you know what you're going to get from him.
And plus, he's a lot cheaper, too.
Yeah, like, if you look at Keuchel, in 2015, he had a 6.7 WAR. The last 3 seasons, his WAR is 6.6.
Yeah.
And, like, he is hitting that
right.
Yeah.
That
thing.
walk.
And, like,
He had a better year last year, to his credit. But there's 2 things with that. One, it's been well documented how good the Astros are with like their analytics and like their spin rates and stuff. And like, look at Garrett Cole, like his last year on the Pirates, he had like an ERA above 5. And then last year he was like top 10 in Cy Young voting. Like, it's been well documented how good the Astros work with their pitchers. And granted, Keuchel still has all that information, but it's not the same thing when you get to a different ball club. And secondly, like, he's won a Cy Young before, and that's really raising his value at least in his mind. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a disconnect where teams evaluate him and where he believes he deserves to
I think that's obvious, or he wouldn't still be on the market right
exactly. Now. The same thing with Kimbrel, but that's a different conversation.
Did you see Adam Jones signed today?
I
saw. Looks like they came to terms, but they haven't officially announced it.
I saw he signed. Where did he sign with?
Diamondbacks.
Interesting.
Yeah, 1 year, $3 million is what I saw.
That's. I'm glad he signed, but he deserves a lot more than that. I like Adam Jones.
I do too. I can't believe that $3 million for that guy is insane.
If like Robles was like, I don't know, like 19 or 18, like I would want us to go get Adam Jones because I think he'd be a perfect guy on this team, but there's not really a need for him right now.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, next question at One Lovely Lady C, who always sends us a question. To her and Dom, we always get. Where do the Nats stand with their salary, and how will it impact free agent signings or trades?
So yeah, go ahead.
According to like whatever site you look at, it's different. The Nats are between 9 million to 11 million under. Some websites have them a lot closer. It shouldn't impact them whatsoever with free agent signings or trades. But it's going to, because the learners are going to use that. Oh, sorry, Mark is going to use that as an excuse.
Stupid Mark.
Yeah, he's quickly turning it. He's getting a Dan Snyder reputation around here.
Yeah. And I think, Amanda, you were the one who mentioned it. Like, one way or another, like, whether it be signing someone like Kimbrel or trading for someone at the deadline, we're going over.
Right, and even if they do
tax.
Nothing, and we have a good season and everyone's hitting their incentives, we're going over anyway. So it just seems so silly to me to think the only way you're not going over is if you have a crappy season.
Yeah, and that's probably a better point. Like, once incentives kick in and people start getting their incentives, you're going to go over. And obviously you want people to hit their incentives, like, because that means they're doing well and they're contributing to a winning team. So
So it seems like it's a counterproductive move to try to stay under right now. But
if the Nats sign Kimbrel, their penalty is $3.2 million. Like,
and then they lose their third and fifth round draft pick,
which for the rest of us is like it's the equivalent for them of like $12. It's like
it's it's so stupid. Or you can just trade Michael A. Taylor, and then boom, there's your $3.25 million.
There's your $3.25 million.
Problem solved. You're welcome.
That's it. Yes, exactly. You should be the new GM.
I mean, sign me up.
Okay, next question is from at B Limperis, and it is, who is the face of the franchise?
So he actually gave us a couple options that I left out because I wanted an unbiased decision from everyone. But he provided Scherzer, Zimmerman, and Soto. I didn't want to limit it to that because I thought there's more possibilities.
Seems like Rendon could be a possibility.
Exactly, and that's who I had in mind.
I would go Max. I think he's the most recognizable. He's the most well known. I mean, I think he's accrued the most awards and accolades on the team. I think I would definitely say it's Scherzer.
Right. Like, a face of the franchise is going to be someone like that, who's not only like a face of your franchise, but he's going to be one of the faces in the MLB as a whole as well. And that's really only Max right now. Yeah,
agreed. All right. Next one is from our pal Dom at Dom and Thunder. He says, what's worse, Solis allowing a 329 average against from lefties, or the current CBA? He always does the what's worse questions. That's his shtick.
And they're both really bad, so credit to him.
The CBA is god awful, but I hate Sammy Solis. I was tired of him watching him blow every single game.
Right. And a lefty specialist who can't get out lefties. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, like, how useless are you? So I'll go to Solis.
Okay.
I am also going to go Solis because, like, while the current CBA is bad, it still has some things going for it. Like, it's not like the whole thing needs to be torn up and, like, completely redone. Like, it has some things going for it still.
Yeah.
But when you are a lefty pitcher and you cannot get out lefties, you have no purpose.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, none whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm going to go Solis as well because the CBA is bad mostly for the players, but watching Solis is bad for us. So I'm going Solis. And you know what? By all accounts, he's a great guy. Good luck to him. I think the team made the right decision. I'm glad that they're going to move forward and build a bullpen without him. But good luck to him. I hope he finds a landing spot where he can maybe thrive, get with some different pitching coaches, maybe help him get back to where he was.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Next one is from at RedGiant07. And he would like a Solis retrospective on his time with the Nats.
Sammy Solis was a pitcher with the Washington Nationals. He sucked. The end.
I was confused when I read this because I wasn't sure if, like, he was saying this as, like, he's going to miss Solis, or saying this as, like, he just wanted us to bash him for, like, 2 minutes. But obviously we're gonna do the latter. Like we're not gonna miss Sammy whatsoever.
Yeah, I think
so.
if I'll do a slightly more expanded retrospective, which is, he had flashes where he was good. Not last year. Last year was bad.
Like a pitch.
The team, it seemed like the staff
or
was
like
pretty
warm-ups?
high on him for a while. Had hopes that he could become a lefty specialist. Last year, I pulled some numbers. 56 games he appeared in last year with a 6.41 ERA. And allowed 28 runs in 39 innings. Also, this is the one that really gets me. Is that good? The one that really gets me is lefties had a 993 OPS against him.
Jesus.
So
that is MVP level OPS.
Yeah. So
that's Hall of
that's
Fame
just
numbers.
lefties. 993 OPS against him with 5 homers, 2 doubles, 2 triples in 88 matchups.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Harper wouldn't have signed with the Phillies if he had known Sammy wasn't going to be on the Nats. Like he wanted to face Sammy to like boost his numbers.
Yeah, everybody did.
993 OPS is barely below Barry Bonds' career OPS.
I know, it's insane. So I thought you guys would enjoy those numbers.
Oh my god.
Oh
Okay.
man.
So
there's your
there you go.
retrospective.
So that brings us to our last thing, which is our worst tweet of the week segment. And this week's winner is at Rob Stimmitz.
I feel bad. He's a great guy.
He is great, and he loves to interact with us on Twitter. We love you, Rob. Thank you for all of your paying attention and listening and interacting with us. We really appreciate it. However,
hey, but we always have those days. Like we always have those
right.
bad
So
days,
this is our worst tweet of the week from Rob. Nats cannot go over the luxury cap this year. It 3 exclamation points. It will be detrimental to their future and ruin the farm and lose vital draft picks.
Rob, great guy.
Is there such thing as vital draft picks?
No.
Like, is that a
no
thing?
Draft picks in baseball are not important. It takes 5 years for a draft pick to make the league. Oh well, now they have to wait 6 years. And he kept talking about like they'll lose international draft slot money. That matters for teams like the Marlins, the Rays, the small market teams who can't get free agents, not the Nats. Okay. Going over the luxury cap gives you a good chance of winning this year. It does not ruin your future. It is not needed to use detrimental. Relax, Rob.
Yeah. Ask the Red Sox how going over the luxury cap last year worked out for them.
Yeah, it seems like they enjoyed it. It seems like
it seems like they're kind of still
being a Caps fan. I can confirm parades are fun. Those are
they are fun. Hey, remember from last week at Phil Coach, the Nats parade will be 10 times better.
10 times better.
Parade,
hey, I really enjoyed the Caps parade, so I am looking forward to one that's 10 times better.
Yeah, when I'm like 95 and the learners are no longer the owners.
That's just wrong. It's just wrong. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys again for listening. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you would go out and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, we'd really appreciate it. We also love reviews. Reach out to us on Twitter. We love hearing from you. You can get me on Twitter at awhite7877, and you can find Ryan and Nick at DC Nat Shack, and you can find the podcast at Half Street High Heat. Don't forget to check out the DMVSportsNetwork.com website, and you can follow them on Twitter or Instagram at DMV_SN. And if you're interested in writing or getting involved in any way with the site, they are looking for people. You can reach out to them via Twitter direct message, or you can shoot them an email at DMVSportsNetwork@outlook.com. Thank you for listening, and we will be back here again next week. Thanks, guys.
Later.
Give me the bridge now.